Hello, Jabo again. This is your favorite storyteller, Stanley with another story. And my story today is about myself and how I got a place nicknamed after myself in the plains of the Mara. The last thing you want is a place named after yourself, because you must do something very crazy, something very stupid for that place to be named after you. And this is my story. I had two photographers in the plains of the great Masai Mara, and we were focused this afternoon to find some action shots, because the previous night it had rained so hard and the roads were very messy. So we started up this afternoon. It was about 3:30, and we were hoping that even with the rains we could get some very unique shots, like of those big male lions with big manes shaking off the mane to get rid of the extra water. That was our focus point. That is what we anticipated of getting. So we left the camp about 3:30 in the afternoon, and we were driving up, and it was not easy. I had to struggle to keep the vehicle on the road, because driving on our roads in some of these parks is like driving on snow. The vehicle just defies the directions of the steering wheel. You turn right, the vehicle goes left. You turn left, it goes right. So it was a little bit of struggle. And there was no way you could drive on the small tracks off the main road. Because in the Mara we have what we call the black cotton soil, and it soaks in a lot of water. It dries on the surface, but if you drive on it, you just sink down, and there is no way for you to get out of those messes. So we are driving, and I'm being very careful. We drove like for an hour. Remember, we have closed the top hatches. They're all down. The windows are all rolled up. So the vehicle with 3 people inside just fogged up. You cannot see much. Even with the wiper, you can only see forward, but you can't see the sides. So it was becoming very difficult for us. But we were determined. We really we didn't want to waste another afternoon. So we kept our hopes high, and we kept going up this road towards 9 kilometers, which is one of the areas where we were expecting to see some cats, like the cheetahs or some leopards. And after like an hour and a half, we thought we were just wasting time. There was no shooting, it was wet, it was foggy, there was nothing to see. And we decided to go back to the camp. My client said, Stanley, I had 2 guests. One was a guy that had won a lottery, and he bought camera gear to come to Kenya and shoot the animals. So he didn't have good information, he didn't have the know-how to take good pictures. So he brought with him a tour leader, a photographer, a professional photographer. So there was 2, the tour leader, the guy that knew how to do it, and the guy that had won the lottery. So we started driving back, and I'm struggling just to keep the vehicle on the road. Remember, the 2 clients are at the back, I'm in the front, and I'm driving very slow. I was driving at 0 kilometers an hour. Very, very slow. You apply the brakes, and the vehicle just keeps moving. So we are driving, and I get to this corner, which the road was turning onto the right, and just at that time, on the left side, there was this big mud puddle, a barrel, a big one. I think it was an old elephant jacuzzi that was full of water. So I saw it, and I didn't want to go straight into the puddle. So I decided to swerve the car slowly onto the right and avoid this barrel. But the vehicle defied my instructions. The wheels turned to the right, but the vehicle kept moving straight. And somehow I was almost able to avoid the big hole. But just as I was trying to stop, the left front wheel went inside the ditch. And I was like, oh my God, it's getting out of hand. I was not saying that, but I could feel it. I could feel I was losing control of the car. Then very slowly, the vehicle started turning because it was going inside deeper into this ditch. The rear left wheel also got into the ditch. And there was no way that this vehicle was not going to turn upside down. The vehicle started moving like this. So I had to let go the steering wheel. I was holding on the steering wheel. It was not helping me. I had to save myself. So I let it go and I was moving with the car. You know how you can move if you are put in a drum, in a circular drum, then it is rolled. You have to move with it, you know, so that you don't fall. That's what I did. I moved with the car, I stepped on my seat, I stepped on the other side, and all this time I could hear breakages, I could hear noise. Everything was breaking inside the car. The glasses, the water bottles from the cooler box, there was so much noise. And after about a minute or so, our vehicle was upside down. The wheels were up in the air. We were totally upside down. All this time, I forgot about my client. I was thinking about myself. Safety begins with you. So I was thinking about myself. I never thought about. Then I remembered I was not alone in the car. So I decided, remember this time the vehicle, luckily enough, the top hatches were not open. They were closed because the vehicle was upside down. We were stepping on the open hatches. This time they were closed, but if they were open, we would be stepping on the ground, in the water. All this time, I look back, and my guests, both of them, they are all holding, each had his own bazooka, big camera zooms. On the side, they were holding them like this, and they were looking at me. I looked at them, they are looking at me. I said to them, are you okay, my friends? They said, we hope we are okay. What happened? I said, I don't know what happened. We are here, we need to find a way to get out of here. At that time, I looked down through the window, and a group of elephants, a big family of elephants, like 20, were like 20 yards away, busy, grazing, enjoying the grass because it was soft. There was rain, water was everywhere. They were having a good time. And we are here inside this jeep, and we didn't know how we were going to get out. All of a sudden, I remembered there was a radio in the car, a radio call that I could use to call the camp. Thank God, at that time, we were able to communicate with the camps. So I got the radio, I called back, and somebody at the camp said, oh, how can we help you? I said, this is Stanley, we are stuck here. My vehicle, we have an accident, please, can you send some help our way? This guy said, I will do that. And he hung up. But as I was calling the camp, another guide who was also on a game drive in the rains heard me. And he came zooming towards where we were. Just before he came, I looked back and I said to my guests, what is happening? Because the safari ants had decided to invade our vehicle. Remember, they have very big proboscis and big heads. And they climb slowly on you. They can use your trouser, your pants to climb up, and you don't hear them climbing on you. And they look for the most soft places of your body. That is where they start biting. So all this time they were sneaking into the jeep. And they started working on my guests. So when I looked back to talk to them, I was shocked. I have never seen white people so white. No wonder they are called white people. The two guests, all of them were in their birthday suits. Each of them trying to help the other one to get the safari ants, because they bite and they lock the proboscis. So when you try to remove them, you leave the head on your body. It was painful. And they are working on each other, they are helping each other. Because some of the pots you cannot reach. I don't know how it happens. Like you have your hands, you can reach almost any part of your body. With your hand, you are able to get to these places. But there are some places, there's a place at the back somewhere that you are not able to get. The hand, you need somebody else to do it for you. So this is what was happening. I could not help them. At that point, I wondered why the ants were not coming for me. They were going for the white people. And I think just like the predators, they do not want dark meat. They think white meat is better. There's no cholesterol. So they didn't come for me. At that time, this guy comes in, the guide that was driving around. He came very close to me and he said, "Stanley, what is happening?" I said, "You don't have to ask what is happening. You can see we are in trouble. Please, what do? We need to get out of here." He came with his car. He positioned his car between us and the elephant. He put his jeep there. He had two guests. So there was still room for me and my guests. 3 more people could fit in his car. So he blocked the elephants so that they could not see us. And slowly, I told my guests, "Please put on your clothes. We need to get out of here." They got their clothes on, back on. They could not forget or leave behind their bazookas. They put their cameras under their armpits, and we crawled slowly. We got out of the car slowly on the side. We climbed on this car, which belonged to the other guide, and off we went to the camp. We got to the camp, and the camp doctor, the clinical officer at the camp, was waiting for us. He immediately took us to the clinic. We were taken to the lab, and the first thing that he did shocked me. He brought 3 bowls, 3 small bowls. He gave one to me, and the other one to my guest, and the other one to the last guest. All of them. All of us were given some bowls, and we were told to pee on the bowls, right there, in front of him, one after the other. So the 2 guests, that was nothing, they peed. This was to see whether there was any blood in the stew. I mean in the pee. Because if there was any blood stains, that would mean there was some internal injuries. So my guests were okay. It was my turn to pee in the bowl. And this guy is looking. He's looking at me, and I felt very uncomfortable. He is looking at me. He is looking at my small hoo-ha. And I didn't know what to do. He said, "Stanley, do it." I was so shocked. My thing was so small, I could not even pee. I had to force it. And when you really get scared, some body parts shrink. That is what had happened. Because I was scared, some of my body parts had shrunk. They wanted to go all the way back in. But I had to do it. I peed. The pee was clear. I was told, "You are good to go." Then this guy, he said, "It's time to get your BP, blood pressure." So he looked for he took the gadget, took the measurements. My clients were okay. My blood pressure was 160 over 100. It was hitting the roof. I was made to lie on this hospital small bed just to relax. I was given some water and some time. And this nice camp doctor was very good. He said, please don't worry about it. It's okay, it's normal, just calm down. After an hour or so, my BP was taken again and it was fine. I was fine to go. This time it's about 6 o'clock. And all the other vehicles that were on game drive that afternoon, they had all come back to the camp. And the camp manager mobilized everybody. All the vehicles, like 10 jeeps, and the members of staff from the laundry, from the kitchen, from the restaurant, everybody came in, housekeeping, the gardeners. We all loaded into these Land Cruisers from the camp, and we drove towards the field to rescue my car that we had left with the elephants. We got there, the elephant had moved a little bit away, but the vehicle was still there, upside down. And people were asking me, Stanley, what happened? I said, I don't know, we just found ourselves in that situation. It was an accident. So we had to alight from the cars, but I did not go close to that car. I refused to go close to that car because it looked like a coffin to me. Because as it was turning, I thought that was the end of my life. It was the end of the world. So I stayed a long way away. Everybody went there. They used very strong steel tow ropes. They tied on different corners, and together with all the members of staff, some held on the car, and they were pushing it. They would try again, and after shoving and pulling, the vehicle was back on its wheel. Finally, it went back on its wheel. The mechanic, John Balmasao, said to me, Stanley, come and get your car. You need to get in the car so that we can tow it. I said, I'm not going to get into that car. Please do it. So they put some tow ropes on the front. The mechanic went there. He put the car on neutral, and it was towed up to the camp garage. When they were there, they checked the fluids. You know, they had to check the fluid, brake fluids, the, you know, all the fluids of the car, the oil, and everything was intact. And surprisingly, nothing was broken. The windows were intact, the side mirrors were okay, the sodas in the cooler box, none of them was broken. What I had was just some imagination. So we left the car, we took it to the car wash place. Some guys cleaned it the whole night because it was messy. Then I went to have dinner with my guests. And we are having dinner. The guests are all already having a moment of a lifetime. They are enjoying, they are telling other people about our incident, how we turned our car upside down. We had dinner. We agreed to start the following morning at 6:30 in the morning. And 6:30 the following morning, we were inside the same car, the three of us, and we had a beautiful day. Some things happen in life just to see how strong, to test you. They are like roadblocks or traffic lights. They stop you, but if you wait there, if you are patient enough, you are sure that the green light is going to come and you keep moving ahead. That is what we did. The devil wanted to stop us from doing what we were enjoying most. It was like a roadblock. It was just for a moment. When things like this happen in life, we need just to focus ahead. Give it some time, and don't give up. This is a true story, it happened, but I learned my lesson. That driving through the mud in the rains, you have got to be very careful. And you do not need to turn your steering wheel all the way. You need to be very gentle on the steering wheel. That's a true story. It happened to me, and I learned my lesson. Viewers, thank you for watching. Keep subscribing and hitting the like and share button so that together we can keep enjoying this. See you in my next video. Thank you.